All right, clear to take off. Go ahead, thank you.
All right, I'll start off. Good morning, everybody. Our meeting will begin with the playing of the national anthem. And if you have that keyed up, we will do that.
Okay, doing that now.
Singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose frost stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts re-watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, sing us that star-spangled banner yet wave, o'er the land of the free and the home of the
That was great.
Yeah, she really was very good, actually. Her name is Candace Alec. She did a very good job.
Okay, I want to recognize our sponsors for our programs. That would be Toomey Latham, Shea, Kelly, Dubin, and Quantaro law firm, a very prestigious law firm. Gershaw Recycling and Louis Joe Zavili's law firm, which is also a very prestigious law firm, and Covanta Energy. We'll begin by having our speaker introduce the topic, and he'll be giving us probably about 10 minutes. And then I, as the host, will enter the conversation. And about halfway through, we'll open up the conversation to the audience. Frank Imbergio of Desktop Solutions is our technical director, and he will control the open mics. There will be two open mics at all times. That will be the speaker and your host. And then later on, we'll be able to tap into the other people. Our speaker today is a respected labor leader who's been a friend of mine for years. He's the manager of Local 1049. Is that the proper term, Pat?
Business manager, actually, but yeah, you got it there, Ernie.
Okay, 1049 IBEW, which is the Public Utility Workers Union. Pat, let's begin with the scope of your responsibilities as far as the utility is concerned, and then you can open up make your opening statement.
Well, thank you, Ernie, and let me welcome everybody here this morning. I really want to thank everybody for the opportunity to be able to talk a little bit about Local 1049 and labor's role in today's economy. We're very proud of the commitment and the contribution that our members give to our communities every day, and we're happy to be able to talk about that this morning. Ernie, we've been friends for more than 20 years, and I appreciate our friendship and the opportunity to be able to be part of your group today. So, really quick, Local 1049, well, we were chartered in 1937. We currently represent about 4,200 members that work in the electric and gas utility industry on Long Island. And they perform functions either working electrical generation power plants, stemming from the older steam units down to the newer combined cycle units that we see out there that are are leading the way through electric generation on Long Island. In addition to that, my members work on the electric transmission distribution network for PSE&G Long Island, as well as the contracted groups that perform functions for PSEGLI also. From a gas business perspective, I represent people that are gas line mechanics that work on the gas T&D system, as well as gas production out of a facility in Holtzville, which is a gas power plant there. We also represent all of the clerical workers that perform support functions for both utilities, up to and including billing, commercial operations, call center operations, and we also have other groups that perform work such as electrical conductor coatings, power plant valve repair, and most recently we entered into a new venue, which is the cable television industry, representing workers at Altice USA. So we're very proud of our membership. It's a diverse membership. They're a proud membership and very active in the community too, I might add. They have strong commitments to both the United Way of Long Island as well as the March of Dimes. And we have a veterans group that is also very active, helping veterans that are struggling with issues such as PTSD and other disabilities.
Patty, I'd like to address the impact of a workforce that has enough money to support itself and to support families. I think that's one of the things that I noticed that with this COVID thing, the collapse was almost immediately because so many of our people, our working people, do not have enough money to get them through. Now, a lot of the people in the audience today are people who have pensions or Social Security or a combination thereof and savings over a lifetime. And we're not in as bad a shape as the guy who's out there plugging away every day. So he didn't have the $50,000 that he could draw from different sources to get him through the last 6 months. You and I understand that you have to have enough money to live well and not just survive. You don't need enough money to make bus fare to get to the job the next day. You need money to make a living. And I wanted to, if you have an opinion on how your guys have survived.
I do. And before I answer that question, because I want to lead into it with the person that's sitting to my left. To my left is Casey Scheid. Casey handles our governmental affairs for the local union, as well as public outreach and public relations. And Casey represents a new type of member, the younger member that's out there. And to your point, Ernie, what organized labor brings to the table is we're able to provide to help workers organize in their groups, particularly younger workers, so that they can have a better standard of living. And when they have a better standard of living, when they have dignity in retirement, when they can raise their families without fear of losing their homes because of a devastating or catastrophic illness, when they're able to live that comfortable, that feeds directly back into the economy. In 1935, President Roosevelt implemented his New Deal. Part of his New Deal was to enact the National Labor Relations Act, and that was to... That was
the Wagner, under the Wagner Act.
That's right, as the Wagner Act. And that was to enhance workers' ability to be able to form labor unions so that they can make more money and infuse money into the economy so that we could pull this country out of the Great Depression. That was at its core, that's where it was. And the more money that workers make, following the doctrine of economist Jonathan Allen Keynes, the more money that's put into pockets of working people, they'll spend it. They'll use it in their local communities. They'll spend it on goods. They'll buy better homes. They'll fix those homes up. They'll take they'll invest money for their life savings so that they can retire with dignity. that in and of itself is a to me the best stimulus for any economy out there. Let the workers build up their wages, benefits, and their retirement income, so that we can enhance everybody's standard of living.
You know, as we accrue this independence, this financial independence by virtue of a good living in the first place, we enhance democracy, because now people have the time to get involved with their local school district, their local politics, and to affect change. When you're just gasping for air, you don't have time or thoughts for that sort of thing. So it's on a democratic level, I mean, small d democratic, I think you guys are promoting that.
It's all about the economy. You know, it's all about being able to get people to invest in their local economy. And when they're making more, they can invest more. When they're investing more, it helps everyone. It helps local businesses, helps larger corporations, and it helps everyone be able to also have jobs out there. It's a cycle, I think, like anything else. We're proud to be part of that cycle. We're proud to be able to enhance not just the lives of our members, but the lives of everyone out there in the community.
I see we have Roger in the audience as well today. Perhaps he'd like to make a comment. You know, if he does, just raise your hand and we'll put you in.
I just unmuted Roger.
Okay,
Or
Roger,
ask him to unmute.
you're in.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having my friend Patrick Guidice on. We've known each other for 20 years, I guess, now, and I think one of the hopeful signs in the American labor movement is that people like Patty here are coming to the forefront and are becoming union leaders, people who've worked hard in the trenches and now are taking leadership of unions that are actually on the cutting edge of a changing economy. And I think the cycle that Pat referred to, which was a beneficial cycle that the Wagner Act was enacted to address, is what's failing right now because of the lack of leadership that we have in the White House and the U.S. Senate.
Yes, but Roger, it's been happening for a long time. It's not just this president. I think he's made it incredibly worse. But you know, it's been an ebbing of this tide for a long time, and it's much deeper.
Well, there's a big difference now, Ernie. We're in the midst of a national healthcare crisis and a recession at the same time. And you would expect that there'd be some leadership coming from Washington, D.C. or anywhere else, which would understand that some investments are needed in order to stop incredible damage to our economy that could last for years. And that's what's missing.
Patty, do you see this coming, you know, this coming administration, apparently it will be a different administration, as being more sympathetic than Democratic administrations have been in the past? Although they've been more helpful than this administration, they haven't been up to the job either, in my opinion. Do you agree?
That's a dangerous question, Ernie, but I'll answer it. Okay.
The political duck.
Yeah. Listen, we in the labor movement, we have always supported candidates that support our movement, that support working people. You know, especially on Long Island. When we look at Long Island, we see different candidates out there that have supported the labor movement, have supported labor unions, and that come from either side of the aisle. Okay, I agree wholeheartedly with Roger saying that we have not seen any real help, at all. And in fact, we've seen nothing but decrements to the National Labor Relations Board, to labor law, to appointments of judges at the federal level from the Trump administration. That has done nothing but hurt labor. Okay, consequently, we have wished for more from our friends also. But sometimes that's difficult. It's a heavy lift. You know, corporations are a heavy, heavy lobbying influence out there in the United States politics. And, you know, labor is, you know, we're not, we don't possess the market share that we once did. You know, we're representing a smaller segment of the workforce, which is, listen, we still have a lot of active people out there. We got some very progressive unions out there that are making their voices heard. But at the end of the day, we have to make sure that the people that are elected to all levels of government, that they know what labor's voice is, and they know that we have to be we have to be reckoned with.
You know, Patty, in 1964, I was an elected official in the union. I was 24 years old at the time. I was with CWA, and it was a pretty big union, as you know.
Yes.
And the congressman came into our office. He was a Republican, and he, he spoke to the officers there, and we all were paying attention. They asked a few questions, and he left the office. And I said to the president, are we supporting the Republican representative? And he says, we're supporting the guy who supports us. That's the bottom line. We don't care if the guy's got an R or a D in front of him. What we care about is, are our issues going to be addressed by this person? And I think that philosophy was perfect.
That's right. And Ernie, if I can just respond to that very quickly, and I don't want to interrupt anyone else, and my apologies, but I have to thank the leadership of the Long Island Federation of Labor, starting with John Durso and Roger Clayman, for the work that they do every single day to hold every political leader out there accountable to the labor movement. Thank you, Roger. You guys are my heroes. You really are.
I don't know if you know this, Pat, but 15 years ago, at LIMBA, I had John Kennedy, Jack.
I remember John.
And he was, John Kennedy is his son. Jack Kennedy was the union leader at that time. And I said to him, Jack, I don't think people appreciate the fact that you guys have a real place in the economy. I want you to speak. And he said, he thought that was kind of strange because we're a business organization. But you know what? I had people come up to me after that meeting and say, you know what? I'm glad I listened to this man. I got to appreciate. By the way, he was a real diplomat as well. He was very good at what he did.
I have a question from the audience. The first question that's come in through the chat window here is about how the IBEW is ensuring that its members are trained and educated in our new electronic technologies.
I can't thank that question enough because we're thank you. Local 1049, as well as my sister local 25. We have apprenticeship training programs that allow any young person out there to go through an apprenticeship program. Our apprenticeship program happens to be a 7,000-hour program, or 3.5 years, and Local 25 is a 5-year program. But what it does is it trains our members, particularly in our case, high voltage linemen, not just to be able to learn from decades of history of on-the-job training, but in any emerging technology that's coming out there. And we have a training facility here in Holtzville. It's a 30,000 square foot facility, which we're expanding. We're looking to grow to be able to address the emerging renewable energy technology moving forward. We, as a union, believe in having the best trained, the best qualified workers out there, and we ensure that. as we grow, we are always inviting businesses in the electrical industry to come down and tour our training center. We ask people in the political community to come down and tour our training center. We have,
I got that right. You train people from outside the utilities just because you
Yes.
have the expertise.
yes,
Okay.
yes. Well, we train people through our apprenticeship program, and it's a great program because anybody that could, they have to pass a screening process and a panel interview of experts in the field to be able to join our apprenticeship. But once someone does and they become an apprentice, they have a career path that will allow them to be able to perform line worker functions anywhere in the United States. And our guys are the utmost professionals. They're the guys you rely on during outages. They're the guys that are consistently improving the system so that the electric service is kept safe and reliable.
Can I ask, how are you finding the supply of labor here on Long Island for these kinds of jobs? My own experience is younger people are not running for the hands-on blue-collar tools type jobs. So how is that impacting your program?
Great question. There are several different venues that we use to, I wouldn't say recruit, but to let people know about our training program. And we have a good deal of qualified applicants. In fact, again, in 2 weeks, I'll be running 2 days worth of interviews from our office from candidates that have passed a screening test, a written screening exam. But we also are involved with the Helmets to Hard Hats program, and we look to bring in veterans that are leaving service to our country to see if they're interested. And a lot of these people that are coming aboard have skills that they learned in the military service that will serve them well in this line of work. In addition to that, I used to do it, but now I have staff members do it, is visiting high schools and talking to younger people at their career days and explain what our apprenticeship is. And because college, you're absolutely right, sir. A lot of young people today are going to college. They're finding paths that are other than blue collar, but our apprenticeship program provides good wages, good benefits, and a good retirement, and it's pretty seductive for a lot of people out there.
Back in the 1960s, in the telephone industry, AT&T had a lot of craftspeople that actually went to college and completed college. Do you have a certain number of people who completed college that come into your jurisdiction, so to speak?
I have one of my journeyman linemen is a former lawyer that passed the bar, okay, and he decided he wanted to do line work more than practice law. I have another person that worked on Wall Street, and he decided that the attraction and the excitement of climbing poles, of working on electric lines, working storm restoration was more attractive to him than it was to travel to New York City.
Well, I can tell you it's hard work, and it's.
I have a few follow-up questions from the audience about the training.
It is rewarding work. Go ahead.
About the training. One is, do you coordinate with BOCES and local community colleges? How is that? Is that a conduit?
Yeah. Yes, we do. We coordinate with actually the SUNY system because there are some line worker courses in the upstate colleges such as SUNY Oneonta and what's that other one right there next to SUNY Oneonta?
Is it purchase?
No, it's the sports college between SUNY and Binghamton. Between Oneonta and Binghamton. I don't know why. Oh,
There are college courses for linemen.
Yes. For a line, yes. They teach them to climb. They teach them basic understanding of electricity, that type of stuff. And those people, when they do come down and and they begin to test with us and to go through. We have a boot camp set up to ensure that candidates that are selected are able to be successful in the apprenticeship program. We put them out for 6 weekends on poles. We teach them to climb, and we observe them working in an elevated position 40 feet above the ground to see if they have what it takes to be high voltage line worker.
I think that dovetails into this question that was asked by Marjorie, that what type of programs could be used to help students? And I think you just pretty much answered that question. It really has to be that, simulating the kind of work and not just theory, but actual hands-on.
In large part, yes, but there are people that have come aboard with no experience whatsoever. It's a drive. It's people. If you want to do this, you can do this. If you want to, if you don't have, listen, it's not easy work, and it's not for everyone. Climbing a pole is kind of an unnatural act for human beings today. We're used to, when we go up, we walk up a flight of stairs. Climbing a pole and locking your legs at each step that you're going up, then going up, trusting your equipment 40 feet in the air, 50 feet in the air, 100 feet in the air at some point, with just 2 little hooks about that big sticking in a wood pole, not everybody can do that. Let me put it to you that way,
Let me add just one thing about the apprenticeship and the outreach to the schools and colleges. The Long Island Federation of Labor has started with the building trades, a pre-apprenticeship program, which goes into schools and goes into the community to reach out to young people who might want to establish careers in the unionized industries, construction and utilities. And it's been very successful so far with placements. We'd like to do a little bit better in the way we have a relationship established with BOCES and the schools, in the sense, not that nobody's interested, but in the sense of getting more candidates recommended who may want to pursue these opportunities. But this is a way of talking to young people about the idea that in the unionized industries, we establish career paths. These are not single jobs that they'll be on one and done, but that they'll go from job to job. And in the utilities, it's a little different, but they're maintaining a lifelong career path that will bring them into the middle class and bring wealth back into their communities because of the lifelong jobs they have.
And thank you, Roger, for Opportunities Long Island. It's an absolutely great program and has changed the lives of hundreds of people. Thank you for all the work you're doing with that.
Yeah, you're welcome, Pat. You guys are a big part of it because it's the apprenticeship programs that are the goal of this outreach.
I have another follow-up question from Marjorie. I don't know if maybe we want to make, Marjorie, I'm gonna, if you'd like to ask the question yourself, it seems like you are, because the follow-up question is very specific about students that completed specific electrical theory. Are you unmuted now?
I'm here.
Okay.
So we're, I hear the conversation going on about apprenticeship programs, and how do we get individuals on Long Island pre-educated so that they're prepared for these programs, and how do we make those connections? So that's what I'm trying to do, is make stronger connections to the community to put these students in these positions. So if I have students, say, that have completed a year-long electrical program where they're getting both theory and hands-on experience, what then would be the next step for them reaching out to these opportunities? And the other half of the question was, are there other programs that we should be putting in place for the career tech programs that are giving the students background experiences so that they're better equipped to fit what we need in the field?
If I could speak first, I'll put out our website right now for anybody out there, that any of you students that are looking to apply, and the conditions for applications are all listed on the website, but it's NEAT, NEAT 1968.org, and that stands for the Northeast Apprenticeship Training Program, NEAT 1968.org.
Thank you.
And that's and that's the first step. But you as an educator, what you can help students that to prepare for apprenticeship programs are it sounds simple, but we find it's very difficult for young people to kind of remember this when they're going forward, and that is how to interview. Okay, training them on how to prepare themselves for an interview. You know, how to answer questions, how to appear when they get there. I've seen people show up completely unprepared for an interview, not knowing even what a line worker does, which you would think that if you've taken the test, you've gotten yourself involved with the program. You know, you're now before a panel interview, which consists of representatives from the apprenticeship training program, representatives from the employers that are there, and union representatives that are trainers. And some of the silly answers that we're getting from people such as, well, I thought I'd take a shot at this because it seemed like a good job. Well, that's not what we're looking for, to invest $500,000 into somebody's training, you know? So where young people need to be trained is they have to decide what vocation they want to do in life. And once they've decided to do that, because I'm a believer in this, I've taught my daughters this, and I teach every one of my young members, you can be or do whatever you want to do in life. All you need to do is you need to focus on that direction, and you will get there. And what they also need to do is they need to understand how to migrate their way through the process. That would pay huge dividends for any young person out there that's looking to join an apprenticeship training program.
Completely agree. Thank you. I get that feedback from several businesses in the community at all of our business meetings. So I completely agree with you, and we are building those programs. Thank you for that response.
And Pat, I run the website for LIMBA, so I hope it's okay. I'm just making sure that I'll include that website
Yes.
address
Yes.
when I, there'll be a recap of the meeting along with the video of the meeting. Also, anyone else in the that's attending and might want to, even months from now, refer a young person or a trainee, you'll be able to surely find the URL there.
Frank,
Yeah, I
want
would
you
recommend
to-
that, you look at Opportunities Long Island,
Okay.
and it's oli.org. But if you go, just type in Opportunities Long Island, that will give you the pre-apprenticeship address. And I think that's a good starting place for young people to take a look at what they might do when they graduate. Because I think you have to remember, in most of these, in the construction industry at least, high school degrees or equivalency are needed. So it's hard to take people from the high school and put them into the apprenticeship programs before they graduate. Pat, I don't know if you do it a little differently in utilities or whether that's required.
We do. We have it has in order to qualify, the basic qualifications that someone would need would be, simply put, a high school education or equivalency. They need to have at least a permit for a CDL license. Okay, we'll help them get a license once they're aboard. We'll pay for that and help them get there. And another piece is, because they're working on the electric and gas transmission and distribution system, and these are sites that are under the jurisdiction of Homeland Security, it's important that convicted felons cannot be working on the system. So they have to have a clean criminal record.
So you go into politics instead.
Right. And when we say that, it's not all felonies. I mean, if somebody was arrested for, driving while intoxicated or whatnot, while that could be problematic in the future, it's more zoned in on any type of violent crime.
I want to introduce
or crimes of terrorism or anything,
for Roger and you. The labor union has diminished in places where either, utilities are strong. I think municipalities are strong, but in general, the labor unions are not strong. How are you guys working together, or if that's part of your program, to get unions stronger in every aspect of the laboring force?
Well, I'll start, and Pat, I want to thank you for the praise of us holding politicians accountable. I noticed that there was a comment in the chat about, I thought we were talking about unions, not politics, and we really cannot separate the two, because in order to make unions stronger and viable, we are going to have to change the labor laws and make them effective. When a worker wants to join a union, it should be an opportunity, not a war. They shouldn't have to be afraid of losing their job in order to get together with their co-workers to organize a union. So there's a lot of legislation involved in those steps, and so politics enters into it. And we would like it to be a politics-free world, but unfortunately it isn't, and we're seeing the impact of it right now. But I would say that there's some cutting edge industries that Pat and Local 1049 will be right in the center of, which will restore jobs and we hope create new unionized jobs in new industries, particularly in the offshore wind industry. And I know Bruce Miller, who's here, will be happy to hear this, that Port Jefferson will be the center of the training as well as the operations and maintenance of an offshore wind industry for Long Island. And I think that's just a wonderful opportunity for the community, for workers, and particularly for IBEW members who are confronted with facing a changing workplace that will require them to look at different kinds of jobs. And so training is vitally important to get us there.
You want to add something to that, Pat?
Listen, Roger covers everything. He's a very difficult person to follow. But the only thing that I could really add to that is from my local union's perspective, and that's who I can speak from. We're committed to ensuring that we have the best trained people out there. And we're going to make sure that moving forward, we are adaptable and amendable to every changing and emerging technology that's coming out there. We are also committed to helping every member of the community out there be able to enjoy the prospect of a decent standard of living. We have programs that go out there and organize other industries within the community. Okay, and it's an aggressive program because we believe in what we're doing.
We have a question from the chat about specific efforts to bring in African Americans, women, and I imagine other minorities into the union.
Yep. From our apprenticeship perspective, we are always looking for, I'll take women to start off with. We're always looking for women to take on non-traditional roles. We encourage women to become line workers. We have people that are currently in the program and have passed that are flourishing out there. You know, we also through our business partners at the utilities work very hard in all communities across Long Island to recruit people to be able to start a career path within the utilities. We wholly endorse it, and we always will go out to high schools and speak to people about starting a career with the utility, because once again, it's a job that's anchored here. It's not a manufacturing job that may be uprooted at any time and moved somewhere else. It's not a well, at least we hope the utilities aren't going out of business anytime soon. So it's a great career path for anyone out there, and we're proud of the diversity that local union 1049 has shown.
And Ernie, I would add that that's really the focus of Opportunities Long Island, is to reach out to minorities, particularly those who are living in communities which have been left behind by economic development. We see development going on there, projects, but it's not providing long-lasting careers. And we need something that'll provide wealth and give minorities who have not had it in the past an opportunity to get into the union and to work throughout their careers and enjoy that status of a worker with a career. I would add that in the offshore wind development, the Public Service Commission has directed NYSERDA to find ways to make certain that development and job opportunities includes specifically these kinds of underserved communities. And so I think that's where we can all play a key role, is that's really built into the order. As this industry grows, it has to serve minorities. Most of our construction unions have affirmative action plans and are required to demonstrate what they've done to bring minorities into the union, and minorities and women. And it's been very successful. If you look at the membership rolls of those unions now, you'll find that they're probably the most diverse unions in the labor movement. And the big change from when I first started, but of course that's starting to be ancient history, but a lot of progress has been made.
Same here. I've seen a tremendous. I've been in this local union 40 years, and I've seen a tremendous shift, and we're proud of that shift.
So we have a question about BOCES specifically on Long Island, Eastern and Suffolk, Eastern Suffolk BOCES, and how's the outreach been going there?
Well, BOCES is aware of Opportunities Long Island and those opportunities, as well as the other trades. So I think we'd have to go trade by trade to see how they've done, because like Pat said, he went into the high schools, and all the other trades go in as well. I can't give the overall numbers. I know we could do a little better probably in our recruitment through BOCES, but we'll keep working at it.
And the same here with Local 1049. We could do a much better job with BOCES than we've done in the past, and we'll be making that a focus of our attention moving forward.
So we all know how difficult the cost of living is here on Long Island. So what kind of jobs what kind of salaries are we talking about that I guess a young person would expect in the unionized trades like we're discussing?
Pat, I'll let you go first.
Well, okay, thanks. I saw you light up, so I wasn't sure if you were getting ready to speak. Well, I'll take our apprenticeship position and start with that first. We're looking at a line worker that starts as an apprentice. They're starting at about $28 an hour. Now, when they top out, well, I'm sorry for using the local parlance, when they finish their apprenticeship program, after 7,000 hours of work, or 3.5 years, they every 6 months they're achieving another step increase, provided that they can achieve certain goals and metrics as they're going through the apprenticeship, to show that they're learning their jobs as they go. And there's book work that's involved with it. When we say book work, it's, they're working off of computer laptops now, but they have to demonstrate to the apprenticeship program that they're learning their trade craft. But they're starting at $28 an hour, and they're topping out at more than $52 an hour. They also have good medical benefits. They have a annuity for retirement, and they, they're able to work extra time, overtime, particularly, because of, doing storm damage restoration or, different projects to enhance the reliability of the system. And that provides a decent standard of living on Long Island. It's no secret out there that our cost of living is not cheap. We're a suburb of New York City. Things cost money, property taxes, housing, food, transportation.
The math, and it eventually could lead in a few years to a six-figure salary.
Yes. In 3.5 years, a six-figure salary. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, we've had a question from Bruce Miller, and I've activated his mic so he can ask the question himself.
Hi, everyone. This is Bruce Miller. There's a Times Beacon Record newspaper article yesterday that evolved from a Sierra Club rally at the Stony Brook Station for their #1 priority, which is the Long Island Sierra Club. This was a kickoff for electrification of the North Shore line. This would be an extraordinarily important to the Long Island and North Shore economy and would be a huge boost to the greening of Long Island. Commuters from Wading River, Calverton to Greenlawn are commuting to Ronkonkoma and the Ronkonkoma line for decent transportation. This is very ungreen. The Long Island Railroad is also planning to purchase diesel engines to replace existing stock, which is a giant setback to electrification and greening. If the Obama administration is any precedent, if there is a change in administrations, change will happen fast for mass transit and shovel-ready green energy. Is opportunity knocking here, do you think? Is the IBEW leaning into
I think Bruce's connection dropped there,
Yeah.
but I think we understood his question.
That's it. Did it get across?
Yeah,
I think so.
right?
I think so. I'll answer real quick. Here at the IBEW, we want to electrify everything. Okay, that's our game. So, and I'm not trying to make light of it or poke fun at anything. But Bruce, I appreciate your comments, and yeah, we would support anything from continued electrification of the transit system, including the addition of additional rail tracks, the proliferation of electric vehicles in order to ensure a cleaner environment. But this all requires that we take our system that's in place right now, and it has to grow. It has to be enhanced. The transmission distribution network, it has to be grown in order to accommodate these initiatives, and we support that, and we'll do whatever it takes to continue to rally our leadership out there to move forward on these initiatives.
By the way, Linda supports this as well.
I know you do.
I would agree with Pat that is certainly a goal that we have, and the state has a goal of producing power without greenhouse gases by 2040. And so that means a very quick, it seems like a long window, but it's really not. And so this is going to be the byproduct of it.
It is
I
for
would
me.
say that, I'm sorry, Ernie?
Long window for me.
Me too. But, the things that we do right now to make that possible are probably maybe even more important than being there when that window opens or closes. But I think that, we look at transportation, we've made a lot of progress for the economy of Long Island by completing the second track. The state deserves a lot of credit for doing that. And then the third track project, East Side Access. These have been great improvements that benefit Long Island and its economy. And you've really put your finger on what the next step needs to be. I think the difficulty now is that we're in a recovery period, and the MTA is certainly suffering the ill effects of a lack of ridership and use of the railroad, looking at a huge deficit. And it's going to take some time to clean that up, but we still can move ahead with our green energy goals.
You know, during the Depression, we were, we didn't have a lot of money in the federal treasury, and yet Roosevelt spent like a drunken sailor to get people working, and it worked. You know, over time it worked. Of course, then when the war effort came, everybody worked because they had to. Why can't we do something as dramatic as that now? Money is cheap. You can buy money at virtually no cost at all, and you put a couple of $1 trillion into the economy, and you can build out a lot of infrastructure.
Yeah.
And we need it right here.
I think the simple answer, Ernie, is there's not enough drunken sailors right now. That's number one. Number two is
I'll have
that,
to join the Coast Guard again.
right, we are having a hard time right now, even passing the stimulus package that would keep business alive, small business, as well as the airlines and even the postal service. So again, this is where politics enters into the discussion. We can't do this without a change of view, but it's vitally important that we get what Roosevelt tried to do and what Pat laid out very well: get money into the hands of people through enhanced unemployment benefits, so they can spend it, and keep local government functioning so it can help people. This is essential, and it's not being recognized in Washington. So, you know, we keep working, making those arguments and working politically is where we have to.
So we're at about 5 minutes left in the meeting, and we do take a few minutes to wrap up and introduce the next speaker. But I have allowed everyone to unmute themselves. If anybody does have a question, wrap up, and you can unmute yourself. We leave that opportunity until you have something like a voice on your own.
What's causing that interference, Frank?
I don't know who's doing that echo, to tell you the truth. I'm trying to figure it out. Somebody's setup, I think, is causing echo.
In any case, I think we're ready to wrap at this point, and I want to thank everybody for participating. Our next speaker for this program is going to be Steve Levy, and that should be interesting. I have about half of what he says I agree with, the other half I am diametrically opposed to, and it should be a very interesting program. I hope you'll join us. Steve Levy is also a man I consider a friend and a man I've known for many years. So I hope you'll all be in attendance when we do that in 2 weeks from today. I want to thank everybody. Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Patty. You guys have been pillars of our community, and I appreciate you and always will. The labor movement is very essential to making this a better country. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us, Ernie.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you. See you in 2 weeks.
I couldn't see you was on. I don't know how many people you have.
I can we can close this, right?
Leave.
And
Leave.